Welcome back to No Judge Necessary podcast, where we got the opinions like DC, we're crazy like Gaethje, and we're as high as O'Malley. We're the podcast for fight fans that want to see fists fly and don't want to wait on the judges. I'm your host, Brick, and as always, my cornerman, Nil, and Matty P. How we feeling, boys?
We feeling, we living, we're chilling. It's two numbered UFCs back-to-back weeks. The juices are still flowing. We had Contender Series on Tuesday. This is a great time to be a fight fan. I'm fucking amped to be in the building.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, to have two massive cards back-to-back and two cards, especially considering what we've been going through in the last 2 years and everything, two back-to-back massive cards not in Vegas. Yeah. One in Abu Dhabi, one in New York. So we'll get into a little bit more of that, but you guys want to start right back off with last week?
Yeah.
267?
Let's do it. Bro, first fight was that Leron Murphy, Mach 1 and Rakani. That shit stood out. It was like one of the first couple fights, and it was a banger. What were you thinking on that fight, Pete?
Well, I mean, at first I'm like, oh man, Mach 1's about to wash this dude and ruin my parlay. And then because I think I had this fight not going the distance. I'm like wrestling to decision for sure. And then all of a sudden, I look down at my phone, and I hear, I'm like, what the fuck happened? And Murphy just slipped that knee in, which I thought Hooker would do, and just bam, put him in the shadow realm, which I hate to see it, but I love to see it.
It was crazy to me because I was like, first round, I seen Makwan Amirkhani like control him, and I'm thinking, all right, Murphy's just going to be one of these guys who's like electric, but kind of gets controlled. Like, he needs some work to do. That's literally what I was thinking the entire first round was like, all right, I need to slow my roll. This cat's got some work to do. And then the second round came out, and he just like times it up, waits for him to duck to shoot, and just launches a knee. And I'm like, maybe he doesn't have work to do. Like, yeah, it just my emotions and thoughts on this dude changed in a flash, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, in full transparency, as we talked about on the last pod, I actually had tickets to the ASU game. Luckily for the fights, unluckily for me, ASU got their doors blown off in the first half. So I missed a little bit of the prelims, but I threw these fights right up on my phone, and I was watching. I had like three guys behind me, like who were all sitting over my shoulder, like trying to watch the fights and stuff because they did not want to watch ASU get blown up by Washington State. So I missed this fight. I saw the highlight. What a knee. That's all I can say on that one. What else you guys got?
Michel, dude. I said it. Michel. Like, he just reminds me of Michel from Dodgeball, and this cat with the fucking pressure and the combinations is a problem. It's a goddamn problem, and we can't pronounce his name, so it's just all perfect. I'm big on Michel right now. I think he takes out a lot of, like, so-so contenders. And I don't know if Gamzatot's really in that class. I don't know. Maybe he was on that night, but I just think, if you're kind of so-so, Oleg Jacek's going to have his way.
Yeah, no, I could absolutely see him be. I don't know how close to the top of the rankings he'll ever get, but I can absolutely see him, going on a bit of a run, maybe slip up when he gets into the rankings, and then just be that guy who just hangs around the division forever and just murders people trying to make a debut.
He reminds me of a little Jan Blachowicz, to be honest. And to be honest, in the light heavyweight division isn't that stacked. I could see him moving up and getting kind of far. If he puts that pressure on people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he could ever make 85?
He looked kind of bulky, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember what his frame.
Like a torpedo type body. Like
because he's
big. You're never gonna get to that.
Right. He's really built, but he did seem a little shorter that I was like, if you could get that kind of power down at 85, that would be an absolute problem. But that might be a little too much for him.
Just the pressure was something else.
Definitely.
Especially against a Russian like that. Like, you realize wrestling to just press him like that.
Right. Yeah, I have kind of a theory, and you can't be reckless, but I think you have to come forward on these Dagestani wrestlers. I think everyone's trying to like press off the back foot, and obviously if you just like you can't just run at the guy and leave your hips wide open or anything. But I think you really need to fight off the front foot
Well,
because
DC says it every single time, and nobody's taking his advice. It's like you need to press the wrestler back. It's harder to shoot when you're moving backwards.
right.
So it's like if DC's telling everybody that, he's
Because
giving.
I mean, just in the basics of wrestling
keys right
and
there.
like MMA wrestling, it's like there's more defensive and quote unquote offensive defensive moves that you can do when you're going forward. When you're going forward, much easier to get a whizzer in, much easier to get an underhook in, much easier to throw that knee out and have him be pressing on that. Instead, when you're on your back foot, and even when you throw that knee, there's nothing behind it because you can't get any torque into it, and then he's just going to catch it and turn it into a single leg.
It's easier said than done, and we'll get into that later. But
Definitely.
the next fight I want to talk about was Zelesky versus Saint Denise. This fight wouldn't have really been anything at all if it was a normal ref. But we had the B-SWAT ref. This guy looked like he never refed a fight before. Zelesky put it on Saint Denis, and he was too tough for his own good. That's honestly how I feel. And he let this fight play on for far too long. Now, credit to Saint Denis for coming back and like actually throwing punches and still fighting. But he was out of this fight. It should have been far over. Disgrace, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that ref definitely was one to see a body by the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they threw him out for the Volkov.
Was it Volkov Tiger? No, Ankalaev.
Yes, Ankalaev Ustamir. Yeah, he got thrown out of the arena. This man's.
Yo, honestly, this dude's probably in like Abu Dhabi jail. I don't think they fucking.
Now, have you guys seen his record as a ref?
Yeah, he's like 0-4 or something.
He's got 4. He had 4 fights prior to this, and none of those fights lasted longer than 30 seconds. They were all by TKO.
Just flash.
No, TKOs. So he runs over and goes like this after damage. So this guy probably saw someone get lit up with the 5-piece combo and stopped every fight for 4 fights. And now he's on the big stage with UFC, and he thinks, oh, these guys are probably tougher. So he sat there and was like, I'm going to let this fight keep going.
That's crazy.
So I'm not saying I agree with him, but it's one of these, like, I kind of see the mindset. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Like, I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
so it's like,
or he got on Twitter this last couple fights when they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't stop that. Like, let him fight, let him go on."
Low-level ref probably read the Twitter comments of like, "Why are you stopping fights early?" Because that was his track record, and then he goes on to let this one go way too long, which you can't do.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think that's one thing, especially still in the COVID era, that we have seen with the Abu Dhabi cards is that Abu Dhabi is in absolutely great facilities. They put on a great show. Like, I really like what they're doing over it. And especially post-COVID, when things open up, I think it's going to be incredible. But I think that just the supply of, like, refs, judges, commentators, announcers, everything is just limited when they're over there.
What happened to the Jack guy who had the white hair and the clean fade? What happened to that guy? You guys remember him from the first Fight Island editions? Yeah. That ref was lit. He was fucking ripped. And
then there was the other...
kind of tall, thin.
Kind of taller, like he looked like a sort of Islander, Asian Pacific kind of guy.
Yep.
He was a little tanner. That guy was solid. So,
no, there's a few solid ones, but then every now and then we're going to get these random, like, Kiev guys that we got in this fight.
Right.
But let's keep moving here. What else we got on recap?
This fight was solid. Like,
yeah, that was solid.
It was a war. Mm-hmm. That spinning elbow almost took him out.
Yeah. I will say, my original take going into this fight was that Ramos isn't that good, and if he loses this fight, I'm right. I think I'm closer to being right, but I'm not saying I can admit that I don't think I'm all the way right there. It's still a hot take because he put on a good performance. Even in an L, he put on a good performance.
I'm telling you, he's gonna be like a Charles Oliveira. Dude's only like 26. I think you will see him in the top 15 one day. I don't know about any farther than that, but he's solid. He's game.
That was big.
That's the thing. You got to be an absolute killer. Like, it's getting to the point with some of these divisions that, like, just to get in the top 15, the way we used to talk about, like, oh, getting ranked, that's like, okay, get 2 wins and then, like, be relevant or have a name. It's like, no. You got to be a killer to even think about having a number next year.
O'Malley doesn't even have a number.
No. And he shouldn't right now. We're big O'Malley fans. Like, I love O'Malley. He shouldn't be ranked yet.
Exactly.
Next fight. But speaking of next fight, Amanda Hevas, my girl, getting a huge dub. I think this was a big win for her. I think this was really like I said, I think that lesson she learned against Rodriguez, she needed to learn that. And I think this is we're starting to see the evolution of what her full career is going to be.
And what was crazy to me about this one was I was thinking she was going to dominate the grappling, and she said, fuck that, let's strike. And just whooped her ass for 2 rounds on the feet after damn near losing that first round.
She got rocked a few times, though.
Oh, yeah.
She did, but after that first round,
right hands.
Like, you know what? We're squaring up. We're getting this done.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of one of those that she probably felt the power of Verna, and after being in the ring with someone like Rodriguez, you're like, okay, this isn't the same, kind of thing. So, and I think her overall striking, even compared to the Rodriguez fight, I think she was a little more, she still left a few opportunities to get hit, but I think she was a little more controlled and a little more calculated in her striking. And if that game gets up, we obviously know what she can do on the ground. I think she could be a top 5er pretty soon.
That was a good fight. Excited to see the result. Like, this is what you want. Someone clearly they earned it. They took the fight later on. Like, that's what you want in these kind of matchups. Two kind of like, hey, we're contenders here. Let's prove it.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And this decision wasn't really in question. But that's kind of where I've leaned to, where I don't understand exactly how I would do the scoring, but I wish that the second and third rounds were weighted a little bit more. Because, like, I still always have that kind of street fight in me where I'm like, bro, if you knock me in the jaw in the first punch of the fight, like, but I don't go down and then we keep scrapping for 10 more minutes and then I'm on top at the end, I won that fight. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's like, oh, we see a dominant first 3 minutes or something that, leaves a lasting impact on the judge's scorecard. And sometimes I'm not okay with that. And that's why I love, like, seeing something like this where she just took it on the back half. And then we pretty much have to get into the whole main card here, right? I know this is going to be a longer recap, but
yeah, let's hop in the main card.
Let's do it.
We had Ankalaev take on Volkan Oezdemir in the light heavyweight division in the first fight. Ankalaev absolutely dominated this. Oezdemir, I hate to say it, but he's a fucking flash in the pan. He's like a one-hit wonder. I hate saying that because I like the guy. I want him to be good, but like, and I know he's got killers.
Pretty rough though. I mean, he's gotten Yuri, he's gotten Dominic Lopez, he's got, and then not only that, but I think what happened is it's like I said it on the last pod. I knew he was going to come out more timid because of getting knocked out the last couple of times. Like, you don't just get knocked out and then go against a beast like Ankalaev and then just keep doing. But he needs to do what he did to get him into the dance, and that was
throw caution to the wind and just go for it. Yep.
What I also think, I kind of like Nil's take about the flash in the pan with him because I really think that he was almost a product of this 205 division was kind of asleep for a second, and it was sort of the product of just like, hey, he was the best we had at the moment. The DC was retiring and everything, and we just didn't exactly, we had the John Jones stuff going on. We didn't know where the division was at, and this cat just kind of came in, got a couple quick wins against unranked guys, and then as the division filled back out with killers, it's like, are you really with the shits? You know what I mean? That's where because like we're talking with these Dom, Yuri, Ankalaev, like there's some legit talent back in the 205 division. So if you're not with it, now granted, it's not the deepest division that we have. So if he wants to hang around the 15 or the back end and get fights, it's like, I don't think he's getting cut anytime soon or anything like that.
He's now 5-5 in the UFC.
Wow. It's
if that doesn't show, like, if he's what he says he is, he'd be better than that by now.
Right.
That's how I feel.
All right, well, let's play the game. Who's next for both of these guys?
Let's pull up the rankings right quick.
Yeah, pull up the rankings. I mean, Ankalaev on the up and Oezdemir fighting like a borderline, hot contender series prospect or like the hottest prospect that's not ranked.
Yeah.
That's who I think Oezdemir fights.
I'd love to see him fight Dom. Dom or Thiago, I
He already
think.
fought Dom.
Ankalaev?
Oh, no. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I'm looking ahead for Ankalaev.
I like Ankalaev against Jan, to be honest.
I don't know. I'd have to get it against Jan.
Yeah, I mean, Jan.
Is that a bit? That's kind of a jump, though. He's only ranked 7 right now.
Oh, maybe Rakic then.
Does Lionheart have a fight yet, or is
Lionheart was supposed to fight Rakic, but had to pull out because he got staph infection from his knee surgery. So Anthony's
I was
for
going to
a
say.
while. I like Ankalaev versus Rakic.
Speaking of, I don't have the medical update, but I think the perfect fight for Oezdemir to give one last final shot at it, a Jimmy Crute return fight. I don't know what that leg looks like yet, but
no, he's back.
He's back?
No, my boy's back. He had he had to take like 4 months off, but he didn't need surgery.
Okay, that's good.
So
that makes
from what I understand, I saw a video of him throwing mitts the other day and was like, "Let's go, Jimmy Crute's
I like
back."
him against Ryan Spann, but same kind of idea.
Yeah, same idea. Give him one of these kind of up-and-comer, back-end ranking
If you
guys.
tell me he can't beat Ryan Spann, in my mind, he don't belong.
Exactly.
He don't belong.
Because Crute is good enough to be in that top 10 soon. We all know that. But I think Spann is still lingering around. I think if Spann's the real test to see if he doesn't beat Spann, then maybe it's time to.
That's why I kind of like the idea of Jimmy Crute, because, like we said, I think he's a top 10er, but coming off a tough injury, I don't want to feed him to like Krylov or Johnny Walker or Paul Craig quite yet. Like that's the next.
Walker would be a banger though. I think
Walker would. I think I just need one more fight. I just need to make sure that Jimmy Crute's leg's good first, and that's why he
fought Paul Craig, and he fucking Kimura'd his ass.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's hop in the next fight, dude. I've been waiting for this one for a while. I told y'all. Best prospect I seen. This is where pressuring the wrestler does not work. Because G was like, "Oh, you want to wrestle, dude? I'm going to come out and throw a haymaker." And comes out, literally slipped it, picked him up, walked to the corner that Dana was in, and was like, "I need Brock Lesnar." Slammed him, whooped his ass. That was dumb impressive.
Yeah.
He finished a guy who had never been finished before in a minute 45.
Yeah.
I did call submission. You were right, though. You called this hype train. And I think, it's real. He's right there. I think what makes sense. We're not giving him Diaz. We're not doing that.
No. To me, what makes sense. Is Mike Chiesa. You guys remember when the first Fight Island went around and they faced off, and DC did the whole face off of Chiesa and Kamzat after he only had 1 or 2 fights. That's a fight to make right now. Let's see if your wrestling's legit. Mike Chiesa has legitimate wrestling. Has finished dudes on the ground. Yeah, we're throwing you to the wolves. You're fucking 4-0 with some hype. Here's Mike Chiesa. If he snuffs him, then it's
and that's
honestly all.
That's kind of why
the title.
Right. I think
then
if he skips the line, give him Burns. At least test that ground.
Because then it tests his ground game, and if you truly want to skip the line and give him an early title shot, when he slaps Burns, then you can have the Usman be like, "Yo, no one slaps my boy like that except for me." You know what I mean? And that's where you just have you already have that narrative of oh, okay, he fought his teammate. Now you can kind of slide that in, because that's the tough thing is there's absolute killers at the top of this division, but stylistically, it's kind of the same shit we were talking about 3 years ago when Usman was coming up, where it was all these dudes are killers, but they only got hands, and none of them really have that wrestling game and hands. So it's what do you want? You want to see him fight Wonder Boy? He's going to snatch up those hips and fucking put him in a pretzel.
Yeah, Gilbert Burns just did that. So it's
we already done seen that. Now, Leon Edwards would be interesting.
Now listen to this, though. Definitely Leon Edwards. I think I got the perfect fight for Lee coming off that loss. This is a banger of a fight. Lee versus D-Rod.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm already in. I'm already in.
Now we need to get a better
Co-main
ref.
event
We need to get a good ref on that one.
Bro,
And a good doctor on that one.
That's
Both of them coming off a loss,
all
pissed
day.
off. Oh, man. I would like that.
That's what I want.
We just did matchmaking for this fight real fast.
Yeah.
Well, the fight happened real fast, so there wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You see, Colby called Kamzat Kumshot Shemaev, and he responded with this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I saw it with the
Oh, yeah.
see me like this.
You'll
You'll
never
never
see
see
me
me
like
like
this.
this.
And he's all fucking, yeah.
Yeah, when he was wobbling.
All-time clapback, dude.
I mean, I do think we're going to see him like that when he fights Usman. But
Nope.
that's for another episode.
Now, can I say that I told you so? My lock of the night, Volkov wins the decision against Tybura.
Well done. Well done.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I fell asleep. For this fight. I didn't catch a single second. As soon as they started the pre-fight, like, oh, Tybura versus, Volkov, and they start going on, like, the fighter intros, I knocked as hard
Well,
as
your adrenaline probably shot up from the last two fights, and then you're like, oh, Jesus, I need something.
Yeah.
I smoked what I fell asleep, so I can't even front. I have no idea who won. I don't even really care, to be totally honest with you.
The floor is yours, P.
Yeah, it went exactly how I thought. Volkov would be kind of sniping him. He has long distance. Tybura would be trying to get the takedowns. He was like 0 for 12 because it's like, how are you going to take down a skyscraper?
Yeah, Redwood.
Yeah, and he's not big enough to be like a Curtis Blades. So I didn't see that happening. I just saw him snipe from the outside, but also Volkov just not being able to finish Tybura because Tybura is a beast. So I don't know. It just kind of went exactly how I planned.
Yeah, I thought that Tybura would have a little more explosiveness to find that takedown, especially early. But it was kind of one of those that, like, by about 3 minutes into the first round, I was like, fuck, Matty P was right. And it is what it be. Luckily, for most of this, or not all of it, but most of the main card, I wasn't really gambling because I was at the football game. Because I would have lost on this one. And then something happened.
Yeah, something happened in the next fight. So I'm not going to lie. I woke up and Islam Makhachev was in side control on Dan Hooker. And I was just like, oh, no. And it was like a minute later that I heard Khabib scream, like, put the leg over, and it was a wrap. Islam Makhachev, Kimura, Dan Hooker made it look easy. This cat's legit as fuck. Fuck, we got another stupid Russian.
Dan Hooker needs to stop being such a G. Quit taking these fights short notice against guys that are just. You didn't have to take the Chandler fight ever.
It doesn't matter.
He didn't.
But that
doesn't matter.
That's what's built his legacy. We wouldn't know or care about him if it wasn't for
That's
that.
why I love him.
He's been who he is.
He'll fight anyone, anytime.
Title shot from beating Poirier. I know he could get there. He just needs to stop doing that. Like he needs to take 6 months.
He's a company man, bro.
Nah, he just wants.
And that's why we love him.
But yeah, I kind of agree.
Go further.
Kind of similar to
So who's he fight next?
Like I said, I was at the game, so I actually, as I kind of saw the writing on the wall with the Volkov Tybura fight, I was like, oh, this is a perfect time to go grab a sausage. Sausage line was pretty long. Got back. I was like, all right, got my sausage, got my drink. Let me pull up these fights. And it was just Islam just next to fucking thing. And I was just like, oh.
Their next fights are an easy one for me, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
Go on.
Islam should fight Dariush.
Yep.
Just because they're both grapplers, it makes sense, and everyone else is kind of booked. And then I think Hooker should fight RDA. RDA was supposed to fight Islam. They're kind of near each other. It's going to be another.
And Hooker will fight next week.
Big names too, like.
Yeah,
gets him a big name. He could probably get on a fight night main card.
That's a main event. That's a main event. If you ask me.
I might be a masochist, but before we can't have it, I want Hooker Tony. I just want to see the chaos.
I want Nate and Tony. Quit. Everyone's talking about this.
No, we can't have Nate and Tony because legally in any state we can't do more than 5 rounds. So I don't want to see that fight. You can't give me 10 rounds, 12 rounds of that fight. I don't even want it. that thing won't even heat up till halfway through the 4th round.
Oh, I'm so down for that fight. That's the only fight that I want, because I don't want to see Tony get worked again by somebody unless it's Nate.
Unless it's Dan. That's why I wanted to see Dan put on a show.
Anything for Dan, because I feel like if he beats RDA.
Oh, no. That's purely for my enjoyment. Like, that does nothing for the division, nothing for his title hopes. It's a name on his career, and I get to just watch that. I just get to have fun.
Fuck this Tony Ferguson talk, dude.
But unfortunately, what's going to end up happening is Dan's going to get like Armand's or something crazy wrestler, or like, you know who I'm talking about? The guy who.
Oh, yeah, Armand
Sakarian.
Yeah, he's going to get somebody like that where we're like, dude.
Well, because they're going to put up Armand against RDA, and then RDA is going to sip out, and then he's going to take it.
Yeah.
The fight that really scares me eventually, because they kind of know each other, it's going to be Fiziev versus Hooker.
No, Fiziev fighting Riddell. And
no, I know, but I'm saying eventually.
So you're saying Fiziev's going to beat Riddell then, if you think he's going to move up?
Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it.
I have no idea who wins that fight.
Yeah, I really don't.
The next fight.
I think
Next
Riddell
fight,
wins.
let's move on.
But yeah, let's move
I
on.
hope so.
Yeah, we had the interim bantamweight championship of the world. Petr Yan defeated Corey Sandhagen in 5 rounds, unanimous.
And still.
Gotta say, what a fight, dude. What a fight. I mean, they went back and forth the whole time. Yan really read him in the first round, and although Sandhagen won, Yan was picking up on what to do for the future. And rounds 2 through 5, I almost think it was borderline a shutout, and his counter-striking and strength and power is just too much to handle for anybody, it seems like, at this point.
I thought that Sandhagen won the second. Yeah, I thought he.
I did too. I actually did.
That was the only round that I think was arguable.
And I thought the 5th was like this. So when I was like, when they're announcing, I'm like, oh shit. And they're like 49-46. I'm like, what the hell? That doesn't even make sense.
I kind of saw it at least 3 rounds to Yan.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was expecting Yan to win after it went to because the
Right.
rounds he won were more dominant.
Well, because that's the thing. The clinic that Yan put on in the 3rd and 4th round were decisive. And then it was like the 1st, the 2nd, and even the 5th, you could, I mean, we talk about dog shit judges. That could go any way. Score those rounds how you wanted. So when I was really thinking on the judges, I'm like, there's no way all 3 of those razor thin rounds, especially in the 1st and the 5th, I think Yan had the slight edge. Especially it's just that power where even if you get the volume numbers on Yan, it looks different when he hits you.
You got to get him out of there early.
Wasn't it crazy that Sandhagen was able to take him down, but Sterling couldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
that was
Cody,
wild. I was like, whoa.
I've been saying it where Cody and what they got going on at Team Elevation, and we'll get into it even more later on. There's something in the fucking water at the top of the Colorado River. I'm telling you. There's something in that water that these dudes, they got something cooking, and I think they're one of the few, honestly, how I look at it, when I really look at the best blending of MMA. Right now, it's CKB. It was Tiger Muay Thai, which we'll see what happens with after the Frank Hickman and George departure, and then it's Elevation. Like, that's where I see the best of blending of MMA, where, some of these, I don't want to call them old school, but kind of the old guard of the ATT and Sanford and some of these guys, where they have great fighters, but it's like, oh, he's a wrestler with a right, or he's a this with a this. These guys are just coming out, and when you think you have them pigeonholed, when you have like, oh, Sandhagen's kind of more of just a kickboxer from the outside, it's like now he's a wrestler. You know what I mean? When you think Gaethje's just a psycho that with volume, he's a counterpuncher. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that gym's truly blending something.
Yeah.
Legit.
You know what I think the biggest takeaway from this fight for me was Corey Sandhagen's a gatekeeper.
Oh, hell no.
That's exactly how I feel. If you beat him, you right there. If you're not, he's the ultimate gatekeeper.
That's way too. I think it's too early to call on that because
now,
he just seems like
he beat TJ. I don't give a damn what anybody says.
He lost that fight though.
he
I
won
think
that
what
fight,
he's
though,
yeah, he did. Yeah, he won that fight.
for sure.
He definitely won that fight.
So
No, I think
don't-
what Neil's kind of saying
he
is that
beats
he's now
everybody
gonna.
besides Jan right now.
Yeah, I think he's almost
He
getting
beats
into.
everyone besides Jan, Aljo, and like.
I think he beat. I think he beat
beats
Aljo.
Aljo in the second
He
fight.
lost. He lost to him in May pretty easily.
I said in the second fight.
Okay.
I think he beats Aljo in the second
No, the
fight.
second fight's going to be close. That's going to be a good one. I'd love to see him run it
Right.
back.
I honestly
I
think
think he beats Rob Font. I think he beats Aldo. I think he beats everybody down in the whole list.
he's getting.
That is-
He's
That's
nearing.
kind of why I think he's a gatekeeper.
But that's not a
The
gatekeeper.
then nobody's going to be passing the gate.
Yeah, that's a small garden, my
Beat the
man.
gatekeeper.
That's a small gardens, my man.
All right, he's the bouncer at a
No,
private
he's
club.
more of like he's almost getting into like a Whitaker type territory where it's like I don't know if he's gonna beat the champ, but look anywhere past him, he's getting the dubs. So,
But like Whitaker gives him gatekeeper vibes too. Maybe I'm just off of my
Whitaker
interpretation
can't
of
be a
it.
gatekeeper.
But you know what I'm trying to say?
no,
though?
I mean we need a different word for what you're kind of. It's almost like
Yeah,
Gatekeeper was Cerrone.
it's like
That's
the
what
elite gatekeeper though.
yeah.
This is the fucking
Right.
golden arches.
A real
gate.
gatekeeper is the guy who sits at number
Cerrone.
80. Yeah,
Yes.
Donald Cerrone.
Yes. My wording's off then. We need a different term for it.
Right.
He's that though.
It's almost like the defender of the contender or something. Like you beat him, you're the next contender.
Yeah, no, we're good. I'm out.
I
Next
think
fight.
Aldo is damn near the gatekeeper at that point.
I agree. I think Aldo or even RDA, or sorry, wrong division, but I think RDA is going to become a gatekeeper. Like that's more of a gatekeeper. But next fight.
Top in the main event, we had Glover Teixeira defeat Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight championship of the world and new. What a performance!
I gotta say, my takes were. I want to go back on the last episode. Maybe I'll clip it. They were the most convoluted bullshit I've ever seen, and you guys called me out on it. But I was spot on. Where I thought that I had the feeling initially that Jan would win it, and initially in the fight you had the feeling that Jan would win it, and then I said that I had a weird feeling that Glover would just find a way, and that this light heavyweight title is going to change hands 5 times. So it's now changed hands once. Glover will lose his next fight. That's my hot take.
I'm gonna go with that. I mean, here's what happened with me.
I can't even argue it.
I lost most of my money throughout the whole thing, and I had $10 left before the co-main and main. I was like, well, I originally thought Sandhagen and Jan, and I've lost everything. So let's switch this up. And I put $10 to win 100 on Peter Yan by decision and Glover inside the distance. So now I got 100 to play with this week.
Attaboy,
Let's
P.
go.
Let's go. I love it. I mean, any big takeaways or just like...
Yeah. I mean, so if it played out on the feet, I think Jan's knocking out Glover probably 8 to 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But Glover made him look like a white belt on the mat, in my opinion.
Yeah. I got to say, and it's
And
one of
that's
those
impressive.
things, and obviously Glover's ground game is elite, but if you a champ, I don't care if you are sort of one discipline, you can't look that bad at any part of your game. If you are a champion, you can't look that bad.
I think he overlooked Glover.
Yeah.
I think he was looking on to the Yuri fight. I think he was worried about the noise with Corey Anderson and the Yuri fight and his family and his kid now at Fight Island. I think that all played a factor. That shit all added up. Yeah.
He got
No
rocked
shit,
by
but-
that left. And then all of a sudden it was just downhill. And then when you're on the ground flattened out by Teixeira, most people are already going out. Like I don't know a lot of light heavyweights that are going to get past that.
Correct.
And
I just had a feeling the guy with the most finishes in light heavyweight history was going to get another one.
Yeah, and you know what? You got to give a lot of credit to Glover because like a few years back, it was kind of like, all right, like where's his career going? Now at 42 years old, he got gold around his waist. Like what I think that's one of those things that maybe in the moment you don't feel it, but the lasting impact that does to the sport as a whole really has an effect because maybe there is that guy who right now is 35 and he's 3-3 in the UFC, thinking about quitting or whatnot. And he could be the next great champ. You know what I mean? And it adds so much to the sport. So I'm excited for Glover. I know, obviously, my hot take is that he's going to lose his next fight, and I'm not, like, wishing that upon him by any means, but
like, it could have happened to a nicer fucking guy, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, usually it's like a shitbag that wins it at this age or whatever, but it's like, no, he's just the nicest guy on planet
Which I'm glad you actually brought that up, because I wanted to kind of bring that up, especially with both of these last two light heavyweight champs. Like, the light heavyweight division, especially when I think roughly all three of us came into the UFC, was the meanest, dirtiest, craziest shit we've ever seen, with the Chuck Liddells and Tito's and Rampage and all these just sick killers. John Jones, GC, all these just absolute killers.
Shogun, Vitor Belfort,
crazy fucks, and that was like,
bro.
Like when the first
heavyweight,
when the first UFC game came out, you only played with the light heavyweight division. Like, that's how it went. And it's just so crazy to see how it's evolved, where, like, these last two champs are, like, nice guys. Like, I love, like, rooting for them. There's, like, no bad blood. Like, it's so crazy to see. But then at the flip side, where, like, everyone was kind of shitting on, the 205 division isn't what it is. And now you start seeing the talent at the top of it, and it's like, okay, maybe we don't have that Chuck and Tito kind of, bad blood, but those guys are way more talented than we actually saw in those, just big killers with a right.
Yeah, and the game is full. But playing matchmaker, we all know Yuri's probably next for the shot, so who does Jan fight next? And also, we didn't think of who Corey fights next in the co-main.
Corey fights the winner of Aldo and Rob Font.
I like that.
100%. Because that shit's happening in, like, less than a month. They'll both fucking start camp by, like, January. That's a perfect slot. Maybe May of next year, they'll fight each other or some whatever.
I mean, it almost has to be Jan versus Rakic, right?
Yeah.
Unless
Ankalaev or something.
I was going to say, the only other person that makes sense is unless you want to skip the line on Ankalaev and feed him to Jan. But I think that's even too soon.
I like Ankalaev versus Jan, but I also like Rakic versus Ankalaev. So I think maybe you can slip an Anthony Smith into one of these.
Which, honestly, if I'm Jan and I'm this division, give me Rakic and Ankalaev relatively soon, because Ankalaev, I mean, it was a tough fight, but I think he can fight probably in the next, 2-3 months. And Rakic should be ready pretty soon. Give me those two. Jan, you were champ. You just got a lot of fucking money in the last year. Go take a breath. He had that stuff with his family, and I'm not going to say that, it may have affected him. I don't know. Take some time. Take a good 5-6 months and come back the best Jan. Fight whichever one of these guys has hype coming off a win, and then you're right back in that number one contender, right back into that mix. And I'm not saying that in my prediction of the title switching hands 5 times, that some of those hands couldn't be the same hands. I think you could get it back.
You just are confident on the number 5.
Number 5. Yep, it's going to change. And new, and new, and new, and new, and new.
All right. Let's go to this week's. We got some big ones.
Well, before we get into this week, we did have some midweek fights. The end of Dana White's Contender Series.
Yeah, it was sort of interesting, a card as a whole, because they wanted to go out with a bang. So, they tried to make, match-make exciting fights. And there was a lot of big favorites on this fight. A lot of dogs, a lot of money to be made. But first fight was sort of boring as shit. The guy who won afterwards was like, what do you want me to do? My opponent was tough. And Dana was like, dude, this is Contender Series. What do you think the next guy's going to be like?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I was so glad.
So fast.
I was so glad. And that guy's face was like, couldn't believe it. But it's like, dude, you can't say that in your post fight. It was like, man, I just had a tough opponent. He was a seasoned vet and everything. It's like, bro, you're trying out for the UFC. Who do you think your next fight
seasoned vets in there?
Yeah.
And then the second fight, we had the guy, the Brazilian, Villarino or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
The cat was exciting and looked like he had it, but he didn't show much killer instinct. He didn't show much going forward. And then it was like 20 seconds to go in the fight, and this cat threw up a spinning heel kick and fucking completely knocked him out. Like, great spinning heel kick, unreal knockout. But
I don't believe in him yet.
I don't either.
The one thing you had to give it to him though.
No, he didn't get it.
He didn't get
a contract.
Got a spinning heel kick, no contract. It was in the last minute of the fight. The one thing I am interested in,
it was a double nut shot. Both dudes hit each other in the nuts.
That was a little funny.
They fucking grappled, and they were like knees.
I've never seen that in my life.
And two knees too. That's the worst.
Yeah. Can't be having double nut shots. This dude didn't get a contract. I think he's very much on that Dana's black book of someone drops out.
They'll bring him back. They'll bring him back to the next season.
But the one thing that did interest me about him is in his post-fight interview, he did kind of and that's why I thought he had a chance at a contract. He did kind of say it where he was like, yeah, honestly, this was my best performance. I couldn't do as much as I wanted to. I actually busted up my ankle in training. So I had a bad ankle, and that's why I was asking my coaches how much time was left in the fight. And when they said 1 minute left, I knew I had one kick in my leg. Like I could get one kick up, and he got one up and got a knockout. So I'm like, maybe there's something there. You know what I mean? Like, part of me wants to call bullshit, but part of me wants to say, okay, if you really that, then go get healthy. Go get a fight or two at LFA or Cage Warriors or something, and then you'll be back, homie. If you really just have absolute knockout shit that you can pull out at any time, then let's see it.
Or just wait for next season. But yeah.
Can I get a list of like the fights?
Bro, I didn't even really watch. I watched like the last two. I saw the British there was like a British dude who got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, the British dude got knocked the fuck out with a clean left hook by the Canadian.
Bisping was like, oh, he's gonna win because you know Bisping's always gonna go for the Brits. He was hyping him up, and then he just got like, what? Bam!
Yep.
I think Bisping, low key, has got a very good sense of who's gonna get in and who's not on this show, and I think Dana White kind of waits for Bisping to go on his rant, and he uses part of that as his decisions. Because that Kui Lin fight where the Asian guy who lost, I agree with Bisping and Dana. I think he won that fight.
I completely
And that's why the guy who won didn't get in, because it's like questionable fight. We all think you lost. Like there's no chance. Yeah. That was kind of a weird fight, but it was back and forth and entertaining as shit. We saw the Canadian knock out the Brit. And what was the main event?
Mahashate. This is my dog. Chinese fighter. Honestly, I will say my whole plan of I wanted to bet on Contender Series the whole night. We were watching it. And my whole plan the whole night was I was going to listen to Yanni the Greek, and then I was going to fade him. But unfortunately, just how ESPN Plus and everything worked out, they were pretty much putting it on right before the fight. And the line kept getting pulled right before I could get the bet in.
Yeah,
so then
I tried to bet too, and they kept pulling it.
They kept pulling it like 5 minutes before the fight, so it kept screwing me. So then on the last fight, main event, I was like, you know what? Mahashate, Chinese guy, and he was the biggest dog on the card, plus 500. I put 20 boos on him. I was like, let's go. And then Yanni the Greek comes in, and he's just like, you know, Estemadora is one of the most talented fighters we've seen in the Dana White Contender Series, Season 10. This is why they put him on the main event, and he's going to win a decision clearly. And I was just like, Mahashate, I'm all in on this cat. He got rocked in the first round, and this cat's got an absolute chin on him and just kept coming back. Dude, that check left, which I'm starting to think, I think might be the calf kick of striking, where no one like pays attention to it, but those quick check lefts, I think are like the most dangerous shot in all of MMA.
Well, the reason why, it's because a lot of MMA fighters are fighting with their hands down. You're supposed to keep your hands up because of the shots you don't see, which is that check left hook. That's why you keep your fucking hands up.
That's why Petr Yan, you think he always got eye poke because he fights like this.
He's like,
he fights right here. Yeah, he's like, exactly. And you're like, oh shit, is his eye fucked up? It's like, no, he's just keeping the highest guard possible because he knows that he's going to throw that big one and he does not want that one coming back. But
Exactly.
I'm excited for this cat. I think that Asian scene, as much as, especially the more I get into, one championship and just everything, I love seeing the blending of Asian MMA into UFC. So Mahashate, I was excited to get him a contract coming up. I mean, it's kind of crazy that only 2 contracts went where it was like the Brit who was a favorite. Yeah, no, those were the only 2 that the Brit that was a favorite gets knocked out and the other guy gets a contract. And then the biggest dog on the card gets a contract. So I love that. Overall, decent season, but I will say, I really think that COVID screwed up this season of Dana White Contender Series, and not in the fact of like they didn't have fighters because of COVID. I think that the last 2 years of these COVID fights where they've been pulling people from fucking nowhere, and we've been just seeing like random people getting debuts from every promotion, and this promotion is not going off.
It's been a solid season. You guys are tripping.
It's been good, but I think
it's been a good season.
I just don't
Even
think
Dana,
any top end fighters like we have in the other seasons.
I don't know if we're ever going to see top end fighters from
except
this show.
for
Hold on to the scene.
No.
Who's the best fighter that's come from there? Name one. Name somebody that's fucking top 3. That's the best example we got. Come on.
It's solid. You told me
So
the name.
far.
That was the first one off the top of my head.
I do think that Pakistani fighter, I don't want to even try to butcher his name, but
Basharat? I think he's going to. Yeah,
that's the one fighter I actually like out of this season. Basharat out of Pakistan. That dude's going to wrestle his way into the top 10, and then we'll see.
All right, well, let's talk about it. We're on Contender Series. Let's hop in the main card. The first fight's a Contender Series guide. Let's get it. CJ Vergara taking on Odie Osborne. CJ Vergara 9-2-1 out of the USA. Odie Osborne 9-4 also out of the USA. This is a flyweight bout.
This is a perfect.
This is not going the distance. That's all I know.
Really?
This is actually
CJ inside the distance, if I'm being honest. But I did not see this fight going the distance. Both of them never go the distance.
Yeah, right.
I agree with that. It's not going the distance, but Vergara is kind of almost where I'm starting my theory at in this season. I'm calling cap. This dude got a knee to the body within 41 seconds. It was a decent finish. He got a contract, and I remember that specific Dana White Contender Series. That was one of the weird ones where Dana was giddy, and he gave out like 6 fucking contracts. Like someone who got lost got a fucking contract. So this is one of those dudes that I'm not going to say he can't be a good fighter, but we saw him throw about 7 strikes total. And now we're going to give him Odie Osborne, who I think is a semi-legitimate prospect. I don't know if he'll ever be a champ or anything.
I think Odie Osborne gets worked in this fight.
Bro,
I don't know.
I don't know if you can sit here and really tell me that like Odie Osborne got like he's miles ahead. He's like way bigger than CJ Vergara. I think they're exactly where they should be. It's probably a minus 180 plus 150 fight.
No. Odie Osborne in his last 3 fights, he got knocked out in the first round. He won by knockout in the first round. Then he got submitted in the first round. Okay, that's why I'm saying this fight ain't going the distance. Let's see the Viagra dude.
Viagra, he said. Oh my god.
Let's see.
Damn, you think for Viagra? I keep thinking like Sofia Vergara.
You said Viagra. All right, let's hear it.
Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yikes.
Oh, Bruno. All right, he won knee to the body, round 1. Then he won by punches in that fight. Won by flying knee. Won by strikes. Lost by rear naked choke. He's had like 2 decisions in his life, dude. This fight
ain't a draw. Now this that get your popcorn ready fight. First fight of the night that just doesn't.
Started off something hot.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
I don't even care who wins, to be totally real. I agree with you that it's.
Let me see.
That it's just not going the distance. But let me hear the odds because I think
Odie Osborne coming in at minus 190 favorite, Vergara plus 150. Not going the distance.
Spot on.
It's only minus 182.
For who?
To
For
go
what?
the distance?
To not go the distance.
Oh yeah, that's what
minus 182.
Yeah.
So
that
I knew it'd be a favorite, but I honestly thought it was going to be over 200.
That's like right in the range of what
Like,
Osborne's favorite at.
sadly, I think that's going to kind of start all of my parlays.
I don't like that now.
Don't do that to me.
Next fight.
Next fight, we're getting into the featherweight division. We got Melsik Bagdasaryan, 6-1 out of Armenia, taking on Bruno Souza, 10-1 out of Brazil. I don't know much about these guys, but interesting fight right off paper. You see a Brazilian guy in a gi, 10-1, taking on a guy Bagdasaryan from Armenia. I'm already down.
I gotta go with the Armenian dude when I don't know anything about them.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely leaning the Armenian, and he is the opposite. He's also a Contender Series fighter, but he went the 3 rounds and put on a clinic for 15 minutes. So this is kind of the more Contender Series guy that
He had kicked Anglin, too, in his last fight, who was also a Contender Series guy.
So that's where it's like, these are the Contender Series guys that I actually believe in. The guys that we see for 40 seconds, I don't believe in that cat. Like, it's almost like...
Oh, this is striker versus grappler all day long.
Oh,
this cat Bagdasaryan got boxing and kickboxing bouts on his record, and he's taking on Souza, whose photos in a gi. So this guy clearly a jiu-jitsu wizard.
Right. And I feel like just like with the Armenian background, he's probably got hopefully just enough wrestling to keep this.
I mean, if he can keep it on the feet, he's probably going to win.
Right. But he's definitely a kickboxer. Wow. Melsik Bagdasaryan is a minus 335 favorite.
Yeah, because when you look at Souza's recent run of form, it's kind of boring. Unanimous decision, a split, won by elbow, split decision, won by a legal blow, win by unanimous, win by split.
Yeah,
win by split. I mean, this cat's got 4 split decision dubs.
And they're all in his home country or something.
Give me, and honestly, the way you bet this fight.
They're all in different promotions, which is a trip.
You take Bagdasaryan by KO. Barstool Sportsbook's giving you plus 165. That's how you bet the favorite, because I think this is going to be one of those where he's going to get a few shots on him early. I mean, it could be a quick highlight knockout, or I think it's going to be kind of a Souza sort of tries to wrestle him, tries to extend the fight. And then, honestly, I think it's going to be one of those, like, knee into oblivion when he tries to shoot. He's going to shoot a naked takedown when he starts getting desperate, and he's going to get kneed into oblivion.
Good see you.
Next fight.
Next fight, we got Dustin Jacoby, 15-5 out of the USA, taking on John Allen, 13-6 out of Brazil in the light heavyweight division. What are opening bell thoughts on this? Because I kind of know how I feel.
Dustin inside the distance, man.
Facts.
Yeah,
I was just going to say.
I will say, just does it interest you at all?
Nope.
John Allen versus Alex Comer. That was the original fight.
Yeah.
That was who it was supposed to be. I think that would have been a closer fight.
Yeah, but Dustin's been he's
going to murder him.
Until proven otherwise, Dustin Jacoby is going to knock you the fuck out. That's how I feel at this point. At some point in the fight, he's going to land a nice fucking 4-piece combo that's going to end it.
Yeah,
until proven otherwise.
Vegas agrees, minus 400, plus 295 on John Allen.
What about inside the distance, though? Do we get
by KO? You're getting minus 106 on Jacoby, so that's at least the better juice. That's probably where.
Can you pick rounds that the fight finishes?
Winning round, yes, you can. What round would you like?
3rd round. Let's just hear the odds.
Dustin Jacoby in the 3rd round will be plus 1,100.
Ooh.
So that would actually be juicy.
3rd round KO? I don't know. I could see this cat hanging around for a round or two.
I was kind of thinking 2nd round, but I don't hate it.
I mean, sprinkle a little on both, like heavy on the 2nd probably. I could see this cat sticking around for a little bit.
Definitely.
And then getting the mix.
Next fight,
we got John Vellante in a retirement fight, 17-13 in the USA, taking on Chris Barnett, 21-7 in the heavyweight division. This is John Vellante's. He announced that this is his last fight. That was not a joke. Okay. I don't know if it came across that way, but
he's gonna stop this and go into competitive eating.
Now, is he really? No shit.
No, that.
Damn! I was like, I would.
I was about to take him in this fight.
I would much rather.
Oh my god!
I would genuinely rather watch John Volante and Barnett in a hot dog eating contest than I would in a UFC fight at this point.
Oh my god!
Because this is a UFC podcast, and because
god.
they're gonna make me take a pick, I'm gonna take Barnett. I'm probably gonna take him inside the distance, but give me that hot dog eating contest on Sunday, and that's the pay-per-view that I would actually pay for.
Yeah, I gotta go Barnett. I don't think Volante's would have fight in like 4 years.
No.
And Barnett Barnett's fucking Kung Fu Panda. I gotta go for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's sneakily the fat guy that shows up to like your cookout. That's just by far the most athletic dude.
100%.
Yeah. He's just by far.
He does a drunk backflip. You pick him up and he jukes someone out in the backyard football game or something. You're just like, how? And then he's going to house 73 hot dogs. And that's who I'd also have my money on in the hot dog eating contest. John Volante is getting 2 fucking L's tonight, retiring and going back to fucking
This is a hot dog fight.
Yep.
Oh my god. All right, we're done with this fight. We're done with this fight. We got Jordan Williams, 9-5 out of the USA, taking on Ian Gary, 7-0 out of Ireland in the welterweight division. I just got to say, Jordan Williams, he hasn't been listening to the pod, but he should. His nickname should be Sugar-Free Jordan Williams because he's diabetic. It's perfect. But sadly, I kind of think his game is sugar-free as well. I don't know if he's that nice.
No, and I think we gave him the nickname Sugar-Free because of the diabetes thing, but like you said, I think his fighting's kind of exactly like getting a sugar-free candy, where it's like, okay, like this was still a fucking like Snickers or something, but like you know it wasn't as good as you wanted it to be.
Yeah, he's Diet Coke.
Yeah, he Diet Coke. Like I'll still drink it, I'll still watch it. Like it's fine, but
still soda.
I would much rather
a real Coke.
Almost anything else.
Now, and Gary's coming out of Cage Warriors, and he's got
the future.
He's an upcoming prospect. You gotta go Gary inside the distance on this one.
I mean, if you watch any of these podcasts or have looked behind me on what colors are on that flag and what colors are around that man behind me, I'm fucking going Gary. I'm going for the Irish fuck. I need a new Irish guy to just be all the fucking way in. He's called Yonda Future Gary. I need him to do it. And honestly, if he just slaps Jordan Williams, I can finally just be like, all right, I'm out on Jordan Williams.
I could see that. I want to hear the odds, though. I feel like somehow Jordan Williams, like, he was such a dog in his Contender Series fight, and he won it.
Not to cut you off, I just noticed, did we want odds on the hot dog fight?
No. We don't care. We're done with that fight, dude.
Perfect.
It's a hot dog stand.
Wow.
It's a flash in the pan. You get it. You in and out, bro.
Yeah.
You get the dog. You get the onions.
Didn't even
and the
make
peppers,
it to the seats.
You move on to the condiments, and you're fucking gone, dude. Like, you don't think twice, bro.
All right, fair. This scares me a bit, though. Young Gary, -400 favorite.
Yikes.
Wow.
See, that's why I'm kind of like, dude, Jordan Williams, like, I don't know, big dog like this in the Contender. Like I was saying, he fought another undefeated guy, big fucking muscle head, and he slept him. So, I don't know, something smells like Jordan Williams is going to somehow get a KO here and, like, ruffle everything up. But,
I mean, if you believe that, you're getting some juice. +600 on Jordan Williams by KO. I think I'm going to be taking Young Gary by KO -134.
I think Gary probably gets it done, but it's like the odds and just the pressure of it is not worth the squeeze of betting it.
No, and that's sort of where, like, I hate when.
Do we have any game on what Gary can do? We have any knowledge of that?
He's a bit sort of like
he's submitted. He's finished.
Yeah, he's kind of like. Imagine. I think the best description of him in short would be like Mason Jones with a little more power. Like he can wrestle, he can submit you, but he'll also just get in the fucking Irish brawl with you, and he's got a big right. So, and that's where I kind of hate it because I thought he was going to sort of be the sneaky Irish guy that I can maybe get good odds on for the first fight or two because I kind of I heard about him 2 fights ago when he was in Cage Warriors.
The next fucking Irish guy that comes on the scene undefeated is not going to be a slight favorite. It's just not.
Yeah.
Just because of the betting line.
And honestly,
and everyone's going to hammer it, so it's
respect to Cage Warriors. Like, the talent they're producing right now is, like, they're coming, honestly, outside of Russia, they're coming the most UFC ready from any promotion. Some of these LFA guys and some of these other promotions that kind of, you know, need a few fights to get their feet under.
All right, let's hop in it. Next fight. We got Edmund Shabazian, 11-2 out of the USA, and also Armenia in the middleweight division, taking on Nasruddin Imavov, 10-3 out of France. This is a banger of a fight sneakily. It's a perfect alignment.
I haven't heard a word about this fight all week, and this is a fucking banger. Like, it was kind of like Shabazian was getting, like, thrown into a lot of big names and was kind of in line for, like, a co-main or, like, a main event on, like, a fight night. And then this just got snuck into an absolute stacked card, and no one's talking about it. So let's talk about it.
When I first saw this fight, I was like, Shabazian for sure. But then I started looking at this other dude, and I'm like, he's been beating a lot of guys. He's really impressive. I mean, who would he beat last?
Fabien?
He's beaten.
He lost to Phil Hawes.
He beat Jordan Williams.
He beat Jordan Williams. He beat
I don't know. I still lean Shabazian. I think Shabazian's had tougher competition.
It sucks because I think Imavov is a very interesting prospect right now, but I think this is just a shit matchup too soon for him, if you're going to be perfectly honest. You know, was Shabazian supposed to fight someone? No, there was no cancellations. They just,
but it's like,
I don't know. It just feels a bit of a weird fight.
He lost to Brunson. He lost to Jack Hermanson. It's like, okay, you got two wrestlers who beat the shit.
Right. But I wonder what that's going to do to his mentals. He's only got 2 losses, right? Yeah, right. He was undefeated, and he's on a skid. I wonder what that plays in. And Imavov could just be this guy that's just been through that and upset it here. He's got to be the dog, right? Imavov is the dog.
Let's play whose line is it anyways?
What do you think? It's got to be a pick'em.
You think Imavov's a dog?
Minus 130 for Shabazian, plus 110 for
He was pretty much spot on. Minus 106 for Edmund Shabazian, minus 118 for Imavov.
Whoa! Imavov, the
slight favorite for Imavov. No. I think that's a little disrespectful to Shabazian, and I was the guy
right though. Vegas knows.
Yeah, I think this is a razor-thin fight. This is so tough because in my brain, I was kind of like you, where I was like, immediately off the jump, I was like, Edmund. And then I kind of thought that Edmund would be a pretty big favorite. Not huge, but I thought minus 180 or something. And then I was kind of thinking, I'm like, if I could get Imavov juice at maybe 150, plus 150 or something, I might lean that.
My first thought was Imavov, to be real.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just big on the skid of Shabazian right now. I think with that cat, it's big mentals. It's all up here. His coaches, too, Ronda Rousey, like, come on. One of the biggest skids of all time. So it's like,
that's fair.
I just don't, I don't know.
Let him with Khabib for a little bit, though.
Yeah, and what I think is that...
And the potential's there. He could right the wrongs and be right back in the mix real fast. But something about me is telling me he's going to keep falling.
And like Pete was saying, where, like, 2 wrestlers who are top 5 guys kind of dominated him, doesn't this sort of smell like the perfect spot for him to get back right with someone who's going to come and bang with him, you know?
Yeah,
true.
I can see it. I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I said Shabazian right when I saw it. Like I said the same thing with Glover and Jan when I saw it. I was like, Glover's going to win somehow. And I changed my mind as it went. I'm not doing that on this fight. I'm going Shabazian.
I'm going to stick to the same theory, but I had Imavov off jump, so.
Damn, we'll see whose gut is right.
Facts. Next fight. This is also one I got a gut feeling on. We got Phil Hawes, 11-2 out of the USA, taking on Chris Curtis, 26-8, also out of the USA in the middleweight division. I'm not going to lie, Chris Curtis, like, I know he's been in the UFC, but, like, doesn't ring a bell.
Yo,
it kind of smells like Curtis Blades is like dollar store blades.
Way to step on my take, because my take was literally going to be how in the fuck are you 26-8 and I barely know shits about you?
Because I think he just got on here from the Contender Series, right? No?
Oh, so he just been around.
Ex MMA 2.
He was
his
in
last
PFL
fight.
for a while. He was on the Contender Series in 2018.
He was in PFL.
And then floated around PFL for a while.
Oh, but he lost to the elites of PFL. He lost to the 2-time champion, Ray Cooper, and the fucking one guy who's won the other belt.
The guy who just lost.
Yeah, he lost to Magomed Karimov and Ray Cooper, the 2 guys who fought for the belt in PFL. Those are his most recent losses
and
since
he's been
2016.
And then since then, been on a 5 straight winning streak since he
This
lost.
Is a weird fucking fight, and I'm not gonna put heavy thing. I'm just gonna go the underdog. Whoever the underdog is, I'm betting. So tell me, Brett, who am I betting?
Chris Curtis is plus 275.
Oh, I love it. I'm taking that all day. And I'm
That's kind of how I felt, though.
And you know what?
I kind of think Phil Haas is going to catch him. They call him Megatron for a reason. He's fucking yoked. I think he's just going to find a way to land a right hand on
Chris Curtis trains with the psycho Sean Strickland, and that helps.
Okay.
That does. No, that does. That factors in. I don't know how much. No, factors in.
You know what
Sean
really
in the hotel with Chris Curtis, like he's that close.
Yeah.
Oh yikes! All right.
I want to know what really tipped me over the scales on Chris Curtis was I went with the Matty P theory of doesn't Phil Haas 11-3 the next time we're talking about him just sound right?
It does.
Phil Haas 12-2 don't sound right.
And 27-8 for Curtis.
Yep, that's right on. That's right on par.
I don't like that. I like Phil Haas by
big
knockout.
Money underdog. We love it.
And Chris Curtis, what can we get with a knockout?
Well,
plus 650.
Let's take it.
Take it. Juicy.
You guys are blindly riding dollar store Curtis Blades.
Yeah. I think dollar store Curtis Blades, like legitimately whatever hometown Curtis Blades is from, the guy that's at the dollar store could probably beat Phil Haas.
No.
Yeah.
Next fight. We got Raging Al Iaquinta, 14-6 out of the USA, taking on Bobby Green, 27-12, also out of the USA in the lightweight division. This is an all-time fight. 2 legends of the sport. Bobby Green was like first team all COVID. Raging Al Iaquinta, the baddest real estate agent on the planet. So, I mean, this is such a good fight.
Let's hear
it. Spill it.
And I don't know who's going to win the fight, but this fight is going the distance. That's all I know.
Yep. Absolutely.
They both don't have the power like that. They both don't get knocked out like that. They're tough as hell.
It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be a good fight, but I couldn't agree more. I think it's going the distance.
This fight's killing me because I'm a Bobby Green fan, but I feel like I've been picking against him a lot lately. And I don't like that. And now seeing him as a minus 175 favorite, Al Iaquinta's plus 135, and I still feel like Al's going to win this fight. That's what I hate is I like Bobby Green. I was big on the committee. I mean, I was most of the committee for the Judgy Awards, and we had to put Bobby Green first team all COVID. I really like Bobby Green, but I think this is going to be an absolute war. And I think this is going to be a fight that Al Iaquinta wins, but I'm going to make a good case that I hate the judges and how they scored this fight, and Bobby Green should have won.
Yeah, I could see it even being like a weird draw or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have no.
All I know is that I agree with your take. This is going the distance, and both of these psychos are going to smile and shake hands after this fight. That's for sure. Fight going the distance, unfortunately, minus 335.
Wow. It's
no
juice take after all.
Hey, I already got it a couple days ago at minus 200.
Oh, wow.
So people are hammering it.
Yeah, I mean.
That.
Yeah, that's a good.
I wish I could sell that. I wish I could sell my minus 200 pick to somebody. That'd be genius, like a stock or something.
Right? It's going to be a good fight regardless. I think it's going to be a lot of Al trying to counterpunch with shorter punches on the inside versus Green with that length and the jab, and he's always,
I really think
like
I
this
think
shit. I think it's going to be a lot of that. And mixing in wrestling. Whoever is aggressive on the grappling, I think is going to win the fight. It's going to come down to who snags a random takedown, who had more pressure against the cage.
Right.
And I kind of lean Green on that aspect, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think a key for Al is going to be trying to get some inside leg kicks. I think if he's got to try to get the legs, because, Bobby Green, like you said, can use his length and kind of just sit on the outside. That could be a real problem for him.
But there's something like McGregor always says, like, it's just something about Al. I just want to fight. Like, there's just something about Al that I just got this feeling. That it's just, I don't know what it is, but there's just always, it's just something about
Especially
him.
seeing
The
him
real
at
estate,
plus money.
it just all adds into like, yo, he's going to whoop ass. I don't know.
And shout out Al,
he beats top competition. He's been fighting good guys for, he's been against Dan Hooker, Kevin Lees, Donald Cerrone. He's been against good guys. So. Not that
and that's the thing. It's like he's one of those where it's like he has 21 fights, but I almost feel like he's been around longer than that.
Yeah,
He has. He's been around the grip. He just takes time off and does other shit, and then like comes back after like a year and a half off. Fights like a few times, like bounces, like comes back. But that's why this is a good fight, Pete, because you're saying like he's fought good guys, and so is Green. That's why it's a perfect slot for where it's at.
Definitely. Now let's get into the
main event of the prelims.
Yep.
This is an interesting fight. We got Andreas Michailidis, 13-4 out of Greece, taking on Alex Pereira, 3-1 out of Brazil. Now on the surface, you want to change the banner real quick, but on the surface, this looks terrible. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? We got 3-1.
I know exactly what Dan's doing.
Yep. He's bringing Daddy home. He's the one guy who's defeated Israel Adesanya, and he beat him twice. So he knocked him out and beat him by unanimous decision, both in kickboxing bouts, but whatever. Now, the twist to this is that Pereira also has 7 losses in kickboxing. So is he any good? Does he just have Izzy's number? No idea.
No, he was the champ and Glory in multiple divisions.
But he lost his last fight in Glory.
But still, I'm saying you got
no. Of course, he was still
right. But I'm wondering if the hype's really what it's about.
Right.
And he's 3-1 in MMA, and he's fighting Andreas Michailidis, who just beat KB Bilar, but I have no idea what that says.
Yeah,
that tells me nothing.
They're setting up for success, dude. They're trying to do the Bellator trick here and just give him a can so they can smash it, so they can start hyping that up.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
that's what this smells like. It's
the Barstool Sportsbook is privy to that minus 250 for Pereira. Jeez, couldn't get that out. And plus 195 for Michailidis.
Yeah, I like Pereira inside the distance, but I'm not going to go heavy on this because I don't know what the hell either of these guys can do with on the ground or anything.
I don't really know what Michailidis' chin really was because KB Bilar got a few good shots off him in that first round, but I don't really know what KB Bilar's power really is.
But if Pereira lands that left, it's over. If Pereira lands that check left, it is a wrap.
Mm-hmm. And I think those kicks are going to get on him early and often.
I wonder, though, it's MMA. It's not kickboxing. Will the range be? How will he be in the range? How's he going to feel firing the shots off? Is he going to lean too heavy on the kickboxing and just kind of stand there? Is he going to be too heavy on the front foot? There's so many factors.
And we haven't seen much of Michailidis. Do we see him possibly wrestle? Yeah. Maybe test his full MMA game. But
right. I mean, I would. That would be the game plan for this fight. You're 13-4. This cat's 3-1. We got a wealth of experience in him in this discipline. Right. Let's take advantage of that in every way we can. Let's show him this is a fucking MMA fight.
But Pereira also trains with Glover, so I'm sure his jiu-jitsu's been getting slick. Right.
No, and I'm not even trying to disrespect that, but if that's how I'm going to lose this fight, I'll get submitted by Pereira.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not getting in a kickboxing match.
Correct.
Kickboxing.
Correct.
We're going to fight MMA, and if you can beat me, you can beat me.
Correct.
I agree. Pereira getting minus 112 on the knockout there. So that's probably if you want to get a little more juice there.
All right, let's hop in the fucking pay-per-view.
Holy shit.
We starting off the pay-per-view with the banger. And honestly, I can't say I'm mad. Especially with this card. Why got to wait 2 more fights for this shit? Let's get it cracking.
No,
we got Justin Gaethje, 22-3 out of the USA, taking on Michael Chandler, 22-6. Also out of the USA in the lightweight.
Doesn't
In
feel
the
like
lightweight division. Nah, there's no way this fight sucks. If you know anything about fighting, you've seen a highlight of one of these two guys. It is absolute chaos every time they fight. The best way I can describe it is imagine when you pull up YouTube and you type in car crashes. That's what this is going to be. It's going to be a car crash.
And you know what?
Two cars just bam.
And it's not the first result on YouTube. It's the 17th, video down the line where you're like, bro, I'm watching something out of some country I've never heard of, and this is the most vicious car crash I've ever seen.
Russian dash cams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is the Russian dash cam type, car crashes. This isn't just like, someone came around the corner. No, this is chaos. So
sign me up.
I want to lean Gaethje. I'm a big Gaethje fan. I don't want to be a Chandler hater, but I have too many allegiances in this division, and the way he came in, I'm just sorry. I can't. I know Neil's probably gonna sit back and tear me up on this, but I fucking love Justin Gaethje. But if I do have to take off my fan cap for 1 second, the one thing that does scare me is that I think Chandler does have the slight advantage in wrestling. So if Chandler's a dick and robs us of the war that we could have, it could turn into a bit of a wrestle fucking for 8 or 10 minutes of this fight, which would rob us of some of the greatest chaos we could ever see.
Well, I think that we're underestimating Gaethje just because he got dogged by Khabib in wrestling. That doesn't mean his wrestling sucks.
Oh, no.
The leg kicks are going to be the difference, I think. If he could land those leg kicks, because Chandler comes in heavy on that front foot. If Gaethje can land the leg kicks and cover, I think he can shut his wrestling down through leg kicks. And I'm the same way. When I saw this, I was like, oh, I want Gaethje so bad. But that's what scares me, is that I want him so bad. And then the odds. I thought it'd be I already know the odds on this one, or I knew it was Gaethje's a big favorite. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. I think it should be like almost a pick 'em.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with that, because my first thought on this fight was I have no idea.
Yeah.
Great fight. Great fight. Cracker of a fight. I'm so down for it. But I was like, who wins? I have no idea. I probably lean Gaethje because I think the leg kicks will add up. It's money in the bank. And I could see Chandler getting knocked out more than I can Gaethje. And I think that's both their best chance at winning. But
now,
some reason is telling me to lean Chandler.
I know.
That's what's so weird on this fight. And it wasn't really initially, and it's not like I'm switching sides, because initially I thought, I don't know. But I'm kind of leaning Chandler.
Can I make one slight first world problem spoiled bitch complaint?
Okay.
This should be a main event, and this should be 5 rounds. I don't think 3.
It's not going to go 3.
You think
There's
so?
no point for what? This is better that it's not. They're just going to empty the two guys who have gone 5 rounds before and have this experience, get 3 rounds to slug it out. This is way better. This is way better. We're not going to see a round of trying to pace themselves out. They're going to go guns blazing from the jump, and it's going to be madness.
That's true. When Gaethje gets in for 3 rounds.
This could be fucking fight of the year, and it's a round and a half.
Right.
That's what I think it's going to be.
That's fair.
Now, who wins it? Ask your dog. Flip a coin.
I mean, I hate it that this fight genuinely scares me because with the line,
he's not
minus 215.
What does that tell us? He didn't flinch.
Justin Gaethje.
All right.
He ain't scared.
All right.
But I will say the line does scare me. Minus 215. That smells like a line that I'm going to start getting a little drunker later in the night, and he's going to end up in a lot of parlays because I'm going to think I need to add juice to it. And so either those parlays are going to bust.
You might as well it's not going the distance.
Yeah. Gaethje inside the distance.
No,
Gaethje by knockout.
Not going the distance. The fight is not going the distance.
Fight not going the distance is minus 265.
Yeah, I'd rather do that. Yeah. I'd rather do that than bet on Gaethje at this point because I'm scared. If anything, the value is on Chandler, and I just don't want to bet Chandler.
Because Gaethje still wins inside the distance. You're happy personally and betting-wise.
Yo. Hot take. Hot hot, juicy line take. Justin Gaethje by submission. Plus 1,400.
Never happening.
Watch. I know.
I don't even.
It's because
sniff that.
how it's going to happen is
Gaethje
Gaethje's
would love to beat somebody while they're on the ground.
Maybe can he submit to the leg kicks? That's a possibility. Couple leg kicks, he falls over and taps.
He's going to get those leg kicks in. Then he's going to get the volume in, get Chandler rocked, and Chandler's dumb brain, instincts of wrestling. He goes for a naked shot, snaps up a neck that no one ever sees coming.
Nah, fuck you, because you're shooting for the moon on a wild finish of Gaethje here. I got Chandler. Fuck this noise.
I think a crazier, more likely scenario is Chandler by decision, and that's a wild take too.
I could see that. If he can just get his wrestling going for the first 2 rounds and then just find a way to the bell somehow, some way, and just
don't underestimate a guy like that, bro. The fuck? You're just bro, if he just survives every round, maybe.
No, that's it. I said if he dominates the first 2 rounds.
No. It ain't like that.
Gaethje, you do kind of have to survive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't care if it's a fucking wood chipper. That wood chipper has to survive Gaethje. That's just how it goes.
All right, well, let's talk about survival because the next fight's going to be blood and guts. We got Shane Burgos, 13-3, taking on Billy Quarantillo, 16-3, both out of the USA in the featherweight division.
This fight scares me a little.
What are we thinking?
I'm big on. I love Billy Q. Trust me, big fan. But I think Burgos for surely should be winning. But then now I'm kind of on the fence again. But Burgos was when I first saw it. I'm like, yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I was like, I'll let y'all get the analytics. This is going to be another war. And if y'all, this is one of those that should come with a warning, that they put on those commercials. If you got a bad heart or lung problems or are at high risk, after watching Chandler Gaethje, getting this immediately 5 minutes after should almost be criminal. There's going to be no seconds to breathe in this fight. Billy Q's got some serious, both of them are just the Energizer Bunny with hands. They're just going to both come together, and there's going to be 483 combined strikes thrown in this fight. It's going to be chaos. Now, that being said, I'm going to blindly follow my dog, Billy Q, to the gates of hell. That's how I'm going to do it. That's how I'm going to fucking do it. And I'm getting plus 160 on the Barstool Sportsbook, which he's a big stoolie, and I'm all in on my dog, Billy Q. Now, zero disrespect to Shane Burgos, and I absolutely think he can win this fight. But, again, playing a little off the Matty P record thing, Billy Q 17-3, Burgos 13-4 just smells right.
Yeah, I just think Burgos has been fighting top dogs. Top dogs. And I don't know. I think that experience is going to really help him as it goes into the first round. Coin flip. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. But if it gets past that first round, I think the experience is going to play a long way for Burgos.
Oh, if this finds its way to the judges, which it may, I think I'm going to be very scared on my money I have on Billy Q. You know what I mean? Just because Burgos is a fucking savage, and he just doesn't stop.
I got Burgos
when he was knocked out, he barely stopped.
That's what I'm saying.
I got Burgos all day.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for Neil to tell me why I'm wrong.
I can barely name or recognize the names of anyone Billy Quarantillo's fought. And Shane Burgos has been through the who's who, and he's come out alive. Yeah, he's got 3 losses, but Cal Cater, Josh Emmett, and Edson Barbosa. All 3 of those guys, I think, would beat Billy Quarantillo. And I think this is going to be a great fight. It's going to be a close fight, but I have Shane Burgos all day. And it's not even disrespect on Quarantillo. I think he's a solid fighter.
That's fair.
I'm just leaning heavily on Burgos.
That's fair. No, and like I said, this is not
octagon time against the top 7 of a division.
No.
And I feel like Shane Burgos has
this
that.
Is even in just if I have to, already get my spin zone ready. This is even a loss that if somehow Billy Q took, I don't think that's by any means the end of the Billy Q story. That's something that, okay, I fought someone with a lot of experience. I learned a lesson or two, either way, I think both of these guys are going to hang around the rankings and have some big fights next.
All right, let's get in the fucking Coco main event. We got Frankie Edgar, 24-9 out of the USA, taking on Marlon Chito Vera, 19-7 out of Ecuador, isn't it? I don't want to fuck this up.
Ecuador. Because remember
Yep.
O'Malley's hair?
Yep. But yeah, this is going to be a banger of a fight. I mean, Frankie the Answer Edgar, what's not to say? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, like done and done. Like, you can't argue that. But clearly on the back half of his career, taking on a guy who's kind of surging at the right time in his prime. He's been through some shit personally and in his athletic career. So in Vera, so absolutely exciting fight. This is kind of the fight that got slept on this card, and I'm just realizing now that, like, this is my initial thought. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like, I never really got into it.
I mean, it's
at
such
all,
a stacked card. There's so much
in
shit.
this card.
Like, I'll give you what my initial thoughts were. When I heard that this fight was announced, I initially was just like, yo, Chito Vera about to piece him up. Probably a retirement fight, maybe for Frankie Edgar, like close to the end of the line. When I heard that this was getting at MSG, I am absolutely hammering Frankie Edgar. Half of this stadium is going to be fucking Frankie Edgar's fucking hometown boys from fucking Long Island and shit.
Palms River.
This absolutely feels like a spot for Frankie Edgar. Like, this is the fight where he should lose. He's getting disrespected. You don't believe in the fuck from fucking Jersey. At MSG, when the lights are brightest, I think this is the last spot that you bet Frankie Edgar.
Yeah,
Plus 145, minus 182 on Chito Vera. And I think it's going to be one of those that, like, Chito will still have a long career in the UFC, but it's going to be one of those weird that, like, we're just going to always look back and be like, remember when he lost to Frankie Edgar? You know?
Well, I mean, what's his name? Pedro Munoz just lost to Frankie last year, got outpointed.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what I see happen in this fight. I don't think Vera's got a lot of the TKO power. Like, he just got knocked out by Sanhagen, Korean Zombie, and Ortega.
That's what I'm questioning.
So I don't think Vera's got the power as much as those three. And I think Frankie, if he plays his footwork game, throws his leg kicks, bounces around, mixes in some wrestling.
And that's why
I can see him winning a decision, especially at MSG.
And that's why truly, like, saying the MSG thing being a factor where it's not like, I'm not just saying, it's his hometown, but like you said, he's probably going to win sort of a point fight decision. And when you're trying to win that kind of thing late in the second, third round, when he has that crowd, when he has that little extra motivation to throw those extra 5-10 strikes in a round that's going to win him that round, I think you got to take Frankie Edgar. I want to see what the line is on Frankie by decision.
I'm just curious.
You're getting plus 260 there. I think that might be like my sneaky bet of the night. Frankie Edgar plus 260 at the Garden by decision. Can't you just see that? Like, just picture it in your mind of, like, banger of a fight. Chito probably rocks him early, and then bell goes. The crowd goes fucking bananas because they've had two good fights before. Chito's kind of pissed and everything, and then just winner by decision, Frankie Edgar, and the place goes fucking nuts, leading us right into the co-main event.
I think if Frankie Edgar gets rocked, he's getting finished in this fight. He's taken so much damage in his career, and now we're starting to see him get finished. I think the possibility of him getting finished is through the roof. I think it's very high likely that he gets finished in this slot and ruins that whole party you're talking about. Now, I don't really want to see that, but part of me feels that way.
Yeah, I mean, definitely his chin's definitely going to come into question. You never know later into their careers. Is it something where
just the accumulation of all the damage to now actually getting finished, does that start being a trend?
Oh, I mean, Frankie Edgar's going to be what, top 10 or 15 in like cage time of all time, right?
He's number one, I thought.
Is he
does he have
one?
like 7 or 8 hours?
Number one.
Does he have like 8 hours of cage time?
I was kind of confident in that, but I didn't want to say it. I thought he was 1 or 2.
He's been fighting since the day, like I said, first bout Hall of Famer. But I think if his chin holds up in this fight, he wins by decision, like you're saying. But I think there's a real possibility Cheeto stunts the party in like 1 or 2. Because he caught him once and got on him and just went after it. But nonetheless, it's going to be a cracker.
Yeah,
now let's do it.
It is Frankie. He spent 7 hours and 41 minutes in there.
Jesus Christ. He's done a full 8-hour work shift in the cage. Like, that's crazy. He didn't even get a lunch break. But now let's do it. I mean, the theme of the co-main and the main event is we've been here before. Me and Neil have been here before. Back in Jacksonville, we were there for this fight the first time. Sort of shocked the world, and I just want to ask the question that's kind of been going around Twitter. Have you ever seen how fans have treated a fighter like Weili Zhang? I feel like she was an absolute fan favorite to like everyone hates her and everyone's out on her so quickly.
No, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. It depends where you see it. I feel like you guys were in the arena where they were booing her, so that's one thing. But
Yeah.
like on Twitter, everyone still loves her. I mean, I do not love her. She's like super awesome. Like she's just like you could tell she's just hella kind-hearted and shit. So
that's kind of where I was at. Where it was like when I went to Florida, like I was so surprised where I thought it was going to be a razor thin kind of split fight. Everyone kind of loves both of these fighters, and it was 112% Rose. Like, and then she,
it was in Florida, bro.
Yeah,
There was comments like, if you ain't red, you're dead. This was U.S. versus China all day. It was
exactly.
Florida.
Yeah,
they came out in waves.
That's fair.
But as far as this fight
goes, what do we got in a rematch?
I got Rose again. I mean, I had Rose the last one. I won a ton of money because of that. She was plus like 300. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Rose, when she is on her game, she glides across that octagon. Her striking is literally the best striking I've almost even better.
I honestly,
this reminds me of almost Izzy versus Vittori, where Zhang is going to try to bully and walk and plot forward and maybe try to get some wrestling. But Izzy, aka Rose, is going to glide across the octagon. And you forget how good Rose has his submissions. Like, I got Rose all day again. And I think
Thug Rose is nasty. And I think this is honestly like, I know that Weili was a champ, so that's why she got like the immediate rematch. But I actually think that's the worst thing for her because, like you said, it's almost like soccer, like current run of form. Rose might be either 1 or 1A of best women in best form. Like, other than Nunes, who's fighting better than Rose right now?
And Shevchenko.
And Shevchenko. That's fair. But, I mean, they're the top of the top right now. And I really think that if Weili Zhang went out and fought 1 or 2 fights before and Rose had to fight some other competition and then they fought again, it would have been a much closer fight. But I think coming off this immediate rematch with the form that Rose is in, like, I think the game plan is just going to be sharper. And I think really watching that fight, I think Rose had a lot of respect for Weili in that first round. And then once she realized that she could kind of do what she wanted with her game plan, the switch turned and the fight was over. And I'm not just saying with the flash knockout. Like, she started putting it on her. So I expect her to put that pressure and volume and just like that nasty Thug Rose on her much earlier in the fight. And I think this is going to be a washing. But the odds are pretty much a pick 'em. Minus 106 for Rose, minus 115 for Weili.
Disgusting.
I got Weili in this fight.
Really?
Yeah. Coming back in the comeback, training with Henry Cejudo out here, I think it's going to make a difference. He says he's got a strict game plan they're sticking to. I think there's ways to beat Rose. She's lost before. 4 losses. I don't know. This smells like Weili gets it back and then run trilogy. I really smell that this is going to be a trilogy between them. And I could really see Weili has got a lot of power. She's going to use her strength to her advantage. I don't know. She's still, as much as it's 21 wins, she's still raw in this MMA game. Like,
right.
I
this
think
is a bull and a matador, man. Weili's bull and Rose is the matador, and I think
that's a good way of putting it.
I think she just got that cape, but she's got a sword behind it. That's the problem. She gives you the Olay, and then it comes over the top.
And Zhang, she went but it hasn't been. It's been like what 5 months in that last fight. You don't learn Olympic level wrestling in 5 months.
No, you may learn a trick or two, but that's about it.
No, but it's the mindset just coming back in the training.
In Weili. So
yeah,
you want to go to the ground? Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is if her plan is to get with Cejudo and be like, I'm going to try to use my strength in my wrestling. Good luck. Watch that neck.
Exactly.
I don't know. Neck. I just got a feeling. And I feel like Rose is going to come back and probably win the third one. Like, I smell Rose like being like a 4-time champ, but never like defended it that long. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think she's at a mental place now where she wasn't before. Like
That's very fair. Something's given me this.
And then all the excuses Weili made. The crowd booed her, Weidman's leg, the travel, the fight camp. I'm like, you can't just be like, I lost. And
especially if you're a champ, if you're truly a champ, and because that's the level that we think we're fighting on here. This is another title fight. Like, you want to take back your gold. There can't be excuses.
No, you need to know
the guy we're gonna talk about next. The guy we talked about last week. Anywhere, anytime, anyone. That's what it means to be a world champion. Anytime, anywhere, anyone. That's what you are, the best in the world. So I don't want to fucking hear any of these excuses. And I don't know, like, in some ways, like, I like the idea of going to train Cejudo, but the other way, I'm like, Weili was like, what, a 3, 4, 5-time champion, and you're going to immediately switch camps? That's almost like admitting defeat.
She only defended it once against Joanna.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Wow. It felt like such a longer reign.
No, that's why I'm like, bro, everybody's slipping right now.
I just think she's going to get her butt back.
Like 5 wins in the UFC. All of her other wins were from China or something. She had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, she's had 6. This will be her 7th fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I got Rose all day in this. I think the odds should at least be like minus 150 for Rose. But
yeah. And you would think that it's almost like, I don't know if maybe the public's swinging it because, like, the casual gamblers, just saw that, like, oh, the big underdog lost in the first one, so that the quote-unquote big favorite from the first one should win it. So a lot of money's coming in on Weili, or just Nil's got a big bet in. I don't know. But I'm with you. I thought Rose was going to be more of a favorite. So if you're giving me a pick 'em on this fight, you're just saying pick a fighter. I'm taking Thug Rose all day.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop on the main event.
The big one.
Let's fucking
go. We got Kamaru Usman, 19-1 out of Nigeria, taking on Colby Covington, 16-2 out of the USA for the men's welterweight championship of the world. How are we feeling? Main event, 268.
Oh, man.
I'm
just thinking back
I want to win so bad.
I'm just thinking back to December 2019 when I was in Vegas and we were watching this go around for the first time. And I knew exactly what would happen, and it happened.
Well, what's going to happen?
The exact same thing, but worse. I think Usman is going to absolutely fucking dismantle Colby because I think it was one of those that kind of in the same way of like what he figured out later in that fight, I think is going to translate. And I think his hands have gotten better. And I think he's going to try to really inflict damage. I would really like to see Usman get back on his wrestling a little bit. At some point in the middle rounds, really, I think that's a terrible idea for him. Because I think that's the new generation of Usman, his champion jab and everything. But don't forget who the fucking champ is. This dude's an elite wrestler. And I would really like to see that where, bang on him for the first round or two. And then, you know what? Impose your will on Colby. Put him on his fucking back. Get some ground and pound. And make him feel the champ. Make him really feel it. Suck the life out of him. And then in the 3rd or 4th round, break his fucking jaw. Because that's the only way to stop Colby from talking. We figured that out. The only way to stop him from talking is breaking his goddamn jaw. And it's only happened once, and it's happening again.
I think we'll definitely see a couple grappling exchanges, and I think they'll kind of nullify each other out and go back to the feet. I don't see anybody really dominating on the ground. They're both high-level wrestlers.
Oh, of course.
What I am going to do, I'm going to probably put Usman inside the distance on most of my parlays, but look at that last fight, man. Colby had racked up a lot of points. So if it goes to decision, man, I may throw a little something on Colby winning by decision just to fade myself because I know Usman inside the distance is going to be on everything.
I'm kind of with you. Yeah, that's one
Colby
of those
by decision in this fight. I got Colby by decision in this fight. I think he's going to stuff the takedowns, and I
just want trilogies. I see.
I do want a trilogy, but honestly, no. But in this fight, but in this fight specifically, though, the first fight was fucking close as shit until it got stopped, until Usman put her on him. And respect to the champ, that's impressive. I'm not going to take that away. But that was probably the toughest fight of his career. And now he's running it back. And if Colby can stuff the takedowns and put the pace on him, I don't know. And maybe this ref doesn't stop the fight for eye pokes. Maybe they were legal. Maybe they weren't. I'm not into arguing that. I'm just saying, if the fight just keeps playing, how does it play out?
Right.
And I got Colby by decision. 3 rounds to 2.
Myself.
It's going to be controversial. It's not going to be the most dominant.
I'm kind of with you.
And Colby will say it's dominant and talk it up like he washed the champ. When it was like 3 rounds
if my parlays are all alive, because like you said, P, the last leg is going to be Kamaru Usman by knockout plus 150. The fact that they're giving us plus 150 on that is fucking insane to me. Because I think that in the same way that you're kind of predicting what Colby could do, that's where I think Usman's going to be a little smarter in this fight. And as we've seen in the last few fights, his hands have gotten cleaner. His jab is fucking unbelievable right now. And I think he's going to understand that if he lets it get to the 5th round, he could be in a problem of a point fight. So I think he's going to really come with more volume, more power earlier and try to get this out of here in the 3rd, 4th round. Like, I don't think Usman even wants to think about a 5th round. Like, I don't think.
Leaning on that point, my insider Mo told me it's either Usman by an absolute washing or Colby in a razor-thin decision.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah. I could see that because in the same way,
I kind of agree with that.
Because Colby touches you a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't do shit, he still just, puts points on those little leg kicks, doesn't do
But it's
much.
probably 1,000 strikes throughout the fight. Attempted, 200 a round or something stupid.
But I don't think you beat a champ by death by 1,000 paper cuts.
No.
That's not how you beat a champ. That's not how you rip a belt off one of the greatest welterweights of all time. And I think he's right on the way.
Out of me.
Yeah.
What do you see
that's
in
the thing.
Numbers? Do you see Usman going to 20-1 or 19-2? Or do you see Covington go to 17-2 or 16-3?
Usman 20-1, 100%.
I do too.
100%.
I do see Covington 16-3.
He's the greatest welterweight of all time. And you know what? I'm actually glad that you brought that up because my hot take was going to be, and I have to do out the exact numbers, but how many title defenses does he have now? Is it 7?
Mm-hmm.
Is it 6 or 7?
Let's take a look.
We'll
look at it. Any fight after Tyron Woodley?
4.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's got 4.
Is it only 4?
Yep. Burns, Covington, Masvidal twice.
Because then my timeline probably doesn't work. But what I wanted to somehow line up was that the fight to tie GSP's record should be against Khamzat Chimaev.
That'll be way too hard.
But that's way too
record
long.
13?
I think it's 12.
That'll take forever.
So I thought he was at I thought this was the 8th.
He's going to fight Khamzat next week, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but I'm all in. Nigerian Nightmare, the best welterweight of all time. Sorry, GSP. Sorry, my country.
I still think he is the best welterweight of all time, and I still think he will be. I just think somehow Colby by decision in this fight. Usman comes back, proves he's the bigger boss in the 3rd fight, and then defends it 5 times. and we're like, yo, he was legit there. Then Andy had a trilogy, absolute GOAT.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, appreciate it, y'all. If y'all want to check it out, we should be doing a live stream for UFC 268 on Saturday. Check us out on Twitter and YouTube. Like and subscribe, all that.
Like, it's
Much
subscribe,
love.
fuckers.
We out.